I'm now delighted to say we're ready for our first of our 4 contests this weekend, the Table Topics Contest. And I cannot think of anyone better to have a Table Topics question than someone who has a doctorate in comparative literature from Harvard and is doing a second doctorate in classics at Cambridge. So our contest chair this afternoon, he's been in Toastmasters since 2015. He's been a president of Oxford Narrators, and last year he was a finalist in the International Speech Contest. So he knows what it's like to be a contestant at this stage of the competition. So please give a really warm welcome to your contest chair this afternoon for District 91 Table Topics. Please welcome to the stage, Henry Bowles.
Fellow Toastmasters, welcome to the District 91 Table Topics Finals. Wait, you know what? You know what? Stop everything. Everyone stop everything. Everyone get up. All the way in San Francisco, I can feel it. We need more energy. The contestants need it. It's the first contest of the conference. It's impromptu speaking, so get up. I can see you. I can see you. Just shake your body out. Just bring the energy. Shake it out. Bring the energy. Feel it in your body. Okay. Okay. Ah, feel better already. Okay, you can sit down. Okay, but you know what? Now I need to do something. Yeah, that was me for my first table topic. Raise your hand if that was you. Exactly. Table topics is a challenge. It gets to the essence of why we're Toastmasters. It teaches us to deal with surprise, to surmount obstacles, to trust our intuition. You are about to hear from 8 contestants who have risen to that challenge. Each is competing to be the District 91 Table Topics champion. Their responses will be evaluated for content, delivery, and language. Anonymous judges will evaluate them against criteria on voting forms. Contestants will be held in a breakout room where the Sergeant at Arms will observe them. One at a time, they'll be brought back here to face the same question. After that, they remain as part of the audience. Speeches shall be 1 to 2 minutes. A contestant is disqualified if the speech is less than 1 minute or more than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. A green signal is displayed at 1 minute and remains on for 30 seconds. A yellow signal is displayed at 1 minute, 30 seconds and remains on for 30 seconds. A red signal is displayed at 2 minutes and remains on until the speech ends. There is no indication to contestants if they've gone over time. Timing begins with the contestant's first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with you, the audience. The speaker should begin speaking within a short time and not unduly delay the contest. The chief judge announces any time disqualifications before giving the results without giving names. There will be 1 minute silence after each speech for judges to finish voting. After the final speech, there will be silence until the Zoom master moves judges to a breakout room to complete the voting process. Before introducing a speaker, I'll check with them that their camera and microphone are on. This is not part of the timing of the speech. I'll announce each speaker by giving their name, the question, repeating the question, and repeating their name. I'm pleased to announce that all contestants have been briefed. Chief Judge Neil Coleman, could you kindly confirm that all judges and functionaries have been briefed?
Mr. Contest Chair, they assuredly have.
Wonderful. The speaker order was drawn earlier and is as follows. Shivpriya Gowrie. Shivpriya Gowrie. Matthew Robertson. Matthew Robertson. Phil Gladwell. Phil Gladwell. Jacqui Hogan. Jacqui Hogan. Andrew Bennett. Andrew Bennett. Mike Weston. Mike Weston. Roz Etwaria. Roz Etwaria. Errol Williamson. Errol Williamson. I'll now ask Gavin Meikle, our Zoom master, to move the sergeants at arms and all contestants except the first to a breakout room. Our first
I
speaker,
can confirm that they have moved.
wonderful, Kevin. Our first speaker is Shivpriya Gowri.
Hang on just 1 second, guys.
Are we good to go, Gavin?
Gavin, TT8, I think still needs to move.
TS1 is also still in the main room.
I think we're good to go then.
Our first speaker is Shivpriya Gowri. Shivpriya, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible? Shivpriya, I can't hear you. Shivpriya, we still can't hear you.
Hi, am I audible and visible?
You are indeed.
Thank you so much.
Shivpriya, do you have the timer pinned and are you ready?
Yes, I am ready and the timer is pinned.
I can see and hear you. Shivpriya Gowri, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Shivpriya Gowri.
10th May, 1993. My father received a telegram. I'm in labor. Come now. That was from my mother. He rushed to the station with two things in his hand, a giant luggage and a tiny me. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear friends, what would you do when something suddenly comes into your mind, into your life, and you have no idea how to respond? When things are not in moderation. My father ran to the station, hopped onto the train, and we sat with a lot of comfort. But as the hours went by, so did our excitement. After all, I need to be there to welcome my sister into the world. But then the train stopped. And we had no idea where to go. My father kept on asking everybody, could you tell me when the train will leave? I have to go to my wife. And they said, no. They said, there's a technical glitch. You cannot go. And the train master said, 5 kilometers away, there is one station. You might get something there, but there is no point. How will you manage with the child? But my father still took me on one hand, carried his luggage, and walked 5 kilometers right to the tracks. And then we hopped on to a cab and went to the hospital. The next day, my sister was born, and we carried her in our arms. Life is never moderate. Life will never give you moderations. Life is filled with ups and downs. The question is, will you be a moderate person? The question is, will you sit on the seat doing nothing? The question is, will you build a door when the opportunity doesn't knock? What will you do, Mr. Contest Chair?
I now call for 1 minute silence for the judges to complete their marking. Matthew, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. I pinned the timekeeper as well. Is that TK1 Farah Adam?
Yes, correct.
Bingo. Am I visual? Is it okay? I'm not chopped off or anything like that?
I can see and hear you.
Alrighty, let's get the show on the road.
Matthew Robertson, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Matthew Robertson.
Contest chair, thank you for that question. And it almost takes me back to a time when I was a single man, pouring drinks for everyone near the bar, sometimes behind the bar. All things in moderation or not? What an interesting question. Firstly, let's look at the things that we do to excess, which are pretty good. And then let's look at the things which we should be doing to excess, but don't do enough of. So firstly, things we do to excess. Well, I don't know about you guys. I love to exercise a lot, sometimes too much, and it takes up a lot of my free time, but it's what I want to do, and I love it. Secondly, I love to eat a lot of healthy stuff, a lot of green salads. I drink a lot of water. I love to make smoothies. I love to buy my beef and chicken and pork organic. But then sometimes I don't get to have the good stuff in life, such as cakes and a McDonald's or a takeaway. So how do I balance the two? I'm really glad you asked. Firstly, what I like to do, I treat myself. Every single week on Thursday evenings, I like to have a cheat meal. That cheat meal usually consists of a lovely takeaway, a burger with a tasty dessert, usually a thick slice of cake, and I like to pour myself a glass of wine. So all things in moderation or not, absolutely. We have to live life to the fullest, but also live life with as much moderation as possible. Thank you.
I now call for 1 minute silence for the judges to complete their marking.
Thank you.
Our third speaker is Bill Gladwell. Bill, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
You are.
Do you have the timer pinned and are you ready?
I have, and I am.
I can see and hear you. Bill Gladwell, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Bill Gladwell.
Absolutely not. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. If we had everything in moderation, we would spend an itty little bit of time trying to do everything. So what we have to do is focus on what is it we really want to achieve? What are our goals? What do we want to get out of life? And then focus on those key areas. I had the enviable opportunity when my daughter came to me and asked me the question, not that question, Dad, I'd like to learn to drive. Can you help me? And being a good father, I said yes. The one thing I learned from focusing on that activity is that I can get from the front of a Volkswagen Golf to the back of a Volkswagen Golf in under 15 seconds if I really need to.
Green, green.
I was glad when that opportunity had passed me by. So what things do you want to focus on? What is it you would like to do? What do you want to achieve in life? In this lockdown, things have been different, but we still have the opportunities. We may have been stuck at a dining room table. Toastmasters Club has gone online. And when we went online, a few of our members left.
Yellow.
The rest of the members stayed and have learned those skills that we need to stay online. So what is it that you want to do? What do you want to spend the majority of your time on? Tomorrow is a brand new day. We have the rest of our life in front of us, and we can either lock ourselves away or we can get out and do something interesting and useful and worthwhile. So what would you like to do?
Red.
As for me, I'm not going to lock myself away. I'm going to get out into that brand new day and do something useful. What are you going to do? Me, I will see you there tomorrow. Contest chair.
I now call for 1 minute silence for the judges to complete their marking. Our fourth speaker is Jacqui Hogan. Jacqui, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
You are, yes. Hold on for just a sec. Yes,
Do you have the timer pinned and are you ready?
I can see the timer and I am ready.
I can see and hear you. Jacqui Hogan, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Jacqui Hogan.
All things in moderation. Well, if we looked at this logically, we'd say, yes, everything needs to be done in moderation. But hey, we're in a pandemic. What's moderate about that? I have to say, I'm a great believer in excess. Excess in moderation, of course. And by excess, I mean all those things that you can still do, but do now to excess because there's nothing else to distract you. Think about that. That means that if you can't go to the pub indoors, you can go and sit outdoors to excess. I mean, that's a moderate thing to do, isn't it? Now, many of you know that I love penguins. So for me, it's not enough to be moderate about visiting penguins. I have to see them every day online. I am watching the Edinburgh Zoo's penguin cam, and I watch it to excess. Now, some people think that it's excess. Personally, I think 3 hours of penguin a day is viewing penguins in moderation. Now, I'm looking forward to the end of lockdown when I can go excess on visiting penguins live? I mean, who wouldn't want to see those cute little people? And I think as long as I keep it in moderation, maybe once a week, that should be enough. That's moderate for me. I'll be fine. So do I believe in moderation? I believe in excess, in moderation. Mr. Contest Chair.
I now call for 1 minute silence for judges to complete their marking. Our fifth speaker is Andrew Bennett. Andrew, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
I can see you and I can hear you, thank you.
Do you have the timer pinned and are you ready?
I have timer pinned and I'm ready.
I can see and hear you. Andrew Bennett, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Andrew Bennett.
Moderation? Moderation? Bar humbug, say I, just like Ebenezer Scrooge would do as well. Let's go for excesses, shall we, Toastmasters? I don't want to be moderate about things. I want to taste the best food in the world. Come and taste it with me now. I want those lobsters. I want those oysters, delicious oysters with the rock salt and the butter. I want to be able to taste the greatest wines in the world, the Chateauneuf du Pape that just hits your palate with its tasty grape. I want to be able to see the greatest things in the world. I've seen some wonders, Niagara Falls, I've been and seen Machu Picchu, but I'd like to see even greater wonders in the world. I don't want to be in a situation where everything has to be modest and reined in. I want excesses, every single direction of excesses. If I read a book, well, what book do you think I want to read? Do I want to read a little tiny measly book like this? No, give me a massive set of encyclopedias. If I want to go out and go dancing, do you think I want to go and dance a little jig like this? No, that's not for me. I want to dance something that involves a real fling, maybe a Highland fling even. So excesses are much the best. Absolutely no moderation, table topics, and no moderation, Toastmasters in this. Let's all go for the excesses of life. Are you ready to come and be really excessive with Andrew today? Come on, come and be excessive with me. Contest chair.
I now call for 1 minute silence for the judges to complete their marking. Our sixth speaker is Mike Weston. Mike, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
Mr. Contest Chair, you are both audio and visible.
Do you have the timer pinned and are you ready?
I can see the timer. I will pin them right now. There we are, but timer is pinned.
I can see and hear you. Mike Weston, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Mike Weston.
There's a phrase that I love. It's all about an elegant sufficiency. It's all about just having enough, everything in moderation. But there's a phrase I love even more, an elephant's sufficiency, having far more than you really need, getting yourself stuck in. And I mean, not talking about foodstuffs, I'm not talking about alcohol or drugs, I'm talking about life. It's living life to its absolute full. Don't just pick away at life. Don't just take little bits here and there to enjoy in small, conjoined ways. Throw yourself into it. Grab every single part of life that you can. Do not be moderate. Do not ever hold yourself back. Give yourself completely. Take it again and again. Take all you can get. Never stop taking in life. Let life infuse you to your very core. Make every single moment not a moment of moderation, of thinking and holding back, but putting yourself forward, throwing yourself into the moment, living life for everything it can give you. Yes, in this case, it is not an elegant sufficiency. It is the elephant. It's the elephant in the room, the elephant so big it cannot be ignored. That to really enjoy life, you have to embrace the whole beast. Clutch it, feel your part of it. Know there is much more to have on your plate. And just enjoy and enjoy and enjoy. So, no to moderation, yes to living life to its full and beyond. Mr. Contest Chair.
I now call for 1 minute silence for the judges to complete their marking. Our seventh speaker is Roz Etwaria. Roz, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
You are audible and kind of visible, but let's not worry about that part.
Do you have the timer pinned and are you ready?
I don't have the timer pinned because I need an audible sound check.
I can see and hear you. Roz Etwaria, all things in moderation or not?
Hell no, absolutely not. For me, life is not about moderation. Think about it, music. If we only had one type of music, or we had the lyrics to one song and just that version. But instead, you've got songs where you've got version upon version upon version, reggae, soul, blues, jazz, country. I will always love you. Think of all the versions of that. So absolutely no to moderation. And then there is, of course, freedom. Who wants freedom in moderation? Who wants to have restrictions clamped on them. Absolutely not. So moderation to freedom. Come on, we want to get up and do what we want to do as we do it, as long as we're not hurting anybody else. We want to be able to run, be it 50 miles, 26 miles, 13 miles, or 100 meters, as we want to do it. Why do we want to be moderate when we are expressing ourselves? Expression. No moderation there. And of course, love. Come on, the palpitations of love. Who wants to kiss in moderation? Who wants to hug in moderation? It's there for the taking. It is the essence, the feast of life. We're not meant to be moderate beings. We're meant to be everything our imagination sees and feels. Run free, speak free, drink free, be free. Never, ever, ever do moderation. Love without limits. Be free without limits, and play and dance and love your music without limits. Hell no to moderation. Contest chair.
I now call for silence whilst we move the judges to the breakout room.
Not just yet, one to go.
Our eighth speaker is Errol Williamson. Errol, this is an audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are, contest chair.
Do you have the timer pinned, and are you ready?
I can see the timer. Thank you, contest chair.
I can see and hear you. Errol Williamson, all things in moderation or not? All things in moderation or not? Errol Williamson.
Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. I used to believe not all things in moderation. You see, let me give you a bit of background to my story. My parents left myself when I was 24 years old, responsibility to look after my sister Denise, who's 5 years younger. But I was more responsible in looking after my car, where I'm going to party that weekend, and myself. There was no moderation. It was all about me. 12 years later, when my sister was 32, she went on holiday to Mexico. Now, just before she went, I wanted to apologize for being such a rubbish brother. And the way I thought to do that is to do it via a speech that I'd practiced at Toastmasters, which I'd won a blue ribbon for. And I went to deliver it to my sister, and she had already left for the airport. And I'd missed my opportunity. That's what happens in life, right? I missed my opportunity to give my sister that speech. And my sister did not return. Denise didn't return from Mexico. Unfortunately, on her last day, she died while on holiday. And that made me reflect on my life a lot more. The fact that I'd been selfish, the fact that I'd thought about myself all this time, and it encouraged me and made me say that there are other people that I need to consider It's not all about me and moderation. It's about me sharing. And we will go through life and we will miss out on opportunities and lose loved ones. But if we moderate ourselves, if we share what we have, we will be so much more happier. Contest chair.
I now call for silence whilst we move the judges to the breakout room.
Judges are all in the breakout room.
Table topics, as you've just seen, is a challenge. And our 8 contestants rose to that challenge. Let's give them a round of applause right now. Everyone, I can see you. Applaud. Amazing. Who here thinks that the kind of creativity and resilience and resourcefulness that we just saw on display would be useful, not just in Toastmasters, but in all our lives right about now? Exactly. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to miss our contestants. Lucky us, while the voting continues, we get to hear from them. Our first contestant was Shivpriya Gowri. Shivpriya, are you with us?
Yes. Am I audible and visible?
You are once again. Now, Shivpriya, in my understanding, you like to talk to inanimate objects. What's the last conversation you had?
The last conversation which I had was with my iPad. I was trying to set my iPad for the contest for the audio and video, for a better video, and I dropped it. So I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't feel hurt." And I was trying to caress it and I was trying to put it back. So I do have this habit of talking to inanimate objects and thinking that they actually have a life.
Well, we are not inanimate. You just spoke to us, to lots of us. Very well done. Let's talk to our second contestant, Matthew Robertson. Matthew, you've completed 31 Olympic triathlons. Wow! Could you kind of share a few secrets to motivation with us?
Yeah. I do triathlons because I want an excuse to be fitter than everyone else, and because I get bored quite easily. So for me, motivation is just about not keeping, just don't get bored in doing something. Just keep it entertaining and different. I mean, the triathlon is 3 different disciplines, and you only spend max like an hour on each. So that's why I love it.
Plus cake on Thursday night.
Yes, cake on Thursday night.
That part I can do. Thank you, Matthew. Our third contestant was Phil Gladwell. Phil, one of your interests is DIY. What's the last thing you did yourself?
I'm halfway through the bathroom. And that's a really difficult room to do because you have to use it as well. So the bath's in, toilet's in, tiling is half done. The problem is fitting it in with everyone else using it. So yeah, bit of a challenge, that one.
It sounds elaborate. You also note that you love to drive a lot. And so I'll ask you, for all of our benefit, what drives you, Phil?
What drives me? I thought you were going to say, what do I drive? That would have been a lot better. What drives me? I think it's to try to achieve something, to do something useful. It's been very easy in lockdown just to sit at the dining room table and do work. And then go out for a walk because you have to. But why not go out for a walk because you want to and to get a bit fitter? So try to do something useful with my time.
I like that. That's something I can put in my pocket and take away. Thank you, Phil, and well done.
Thank you.
Let's now talk to our fourth contestant, Jacqui Hogan. Jacqui, you have a black belt in karate. Does that skill set help you in table topics?
No.
Okay.
I've done speeches about it. My best mentor was actually my karate instructor who got me through my black belt exam for the second time. But I'll be perfectly honest, I've never used it in table topics, no.
Okay, a little bit of a 360 here. Well, 180. You love penguins and Jane Austen. If you could put penguins in any one Jane Austen novel, which would it be?
Oh, well, I'm working on a sequel to Pride and Prejudice at the moment. I won't give the plot away, but one of the heroines is going to be courted by the owner of a menagerie of penguins. Just wait to see how it turns out.
It sounds like an improvement already. Wonderful. Jacqui, very well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our fifth contestant was Andrew Bennett. Andrew.
Hi, Henry.
Hi. Speaking of moderation, or lack thereof, you once traveled the world singing about wine. Could you tell us?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. One of the companies that I was attached to, one of the opera companies I was attached to, was bought by the company that promotes Muscadet wine, that wine that's got a rather acidy type grape, really. And we went touring around the world, and we also toured in Europe, Amsterdam and Paris and all over, doing 3 shows a day. 3 shows a day. It was a lot of work. And of course, we weren't allowed to touch a drop until after the end of the 3 shows.
Sounds like it would have been fun to have all of us along with you.
I'd love to have taken you all with me. That would have been great fun.
Next time. Your favorite quote is, "When life throws you a rainy day, dance in the puddles." How have you danced through this last year?
Well, we've all been in the lockdown situation. We've all had our challenges. We've had the moments when we've got a bit low. You know, I got a bit low sometimes. I was in shielding for quite a while, so it's been tough at times, but you just got to get out there and live and find ways of going on. One of the best ways that we've all found of living is to go to our Toastmasters meetings online, all over the world. It's been fantastic. I've been all over the world in Toastmasters. Fantastic time. It's helped me to dance in the puddles.
Andrew, it's something we can all agree on. Congratulations, very well done. Let's now talk to our 6th contestant, Mike Weston. Mike, you are a trained laughter yogi. What's the most important lesson that you've learned from that training?
Never take anything too seriously. And also that if you can fake it, you can make it. Because that's what laughter yogi is all about. It's about tapping into that childless joy, tapping into that inner child, letting it out unrestrained, not holding it back, and just embracing the joy that is still in there somewhere. And just letting it out in laughter and letting that laughter take you somewhere special.
That's a lot of insight packed into a tiny little nugget there. Thank you, Mike. I'll also ask, your 3 interests and hobbies are beer, baking, and cooking. It's early here, but that makes me hungry. What's the last thing you made?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, when you say the last thing I made, it would probably have to be something special. I mean, the general sort of a sausage sandwich for lunch isn't really going to set out anyone afire. And I think it's like everyone else during the lockdown. You know, everyone turned to baking, everyone turned to banana bread. And I worked my way through various iterations of banana bread. And until I think I cracked at the end, I had a banana bread that had chocolate in it, a banana bread that had cinnamon in it, a banana bread that had peanut butter in it. It was just rich, unctuous, oozing. You pick it up from the plate and you could just see, this was not moderation. This was life lived to the extreme. And it was quite tasty as well.
That sounds absolutely lovely. I'm going to ask maybe that you FedEx a little bit to California. Our 7th, thank you, Mike. Our 7th contestant was Roz Etwaria. Roz, one of your hobbies, and this really struck me, is causing chaos. Any tips?
Yes. Take the rule book in both hands and rip down the center. Find a lighter or a match set fire to it, and then rebuild from the heart and the soul.
That'll do it.
That will do it every time.
You've also completed all the paths and are on the second round. Wow. Can you give us a highlight or two?
I think I have to start with, there was a reason behind it, and that's because I am now working with a project that is dealing with trauma for people who have been sexually abused. And I needed 2 keynote speeches, so I joined Toastmasters, and my job was to get those keynote speeches up to spec in a timely fashion. So why do it? Because you've got a purpose for it. The other reason is because in doing it, you actually understand your project more, because you're shaping your project as you do the keynote speech. So you're able to explain it, as Einstein would say, to an 11-year-old child without causing offense. And the critical part for Toastmasters for me, learning to do it with humor. So do it for purpose, do it because you want to bring humor into life, and do it because Toastmasters is the place for doing and shaping speeches that are fundamentally part of your life.
That's so wonderful. Thank you, Roz. Very well done. Let's now talk to our 8th contestant, Errol Williamson. Errol, hi, good to have you with us again. You used to fear table topics so much that you would avoid them at meetings. And look at you now. Any tips for Toastmasters who are just getting started?
Any tips in terms of for speaking?
Sure.
Consistency. Just go to your meeting every week. Even if you don't want to, and there are days that I don't feel like going, things are happening at home, things are happening at work, but consistency leads to confidence and leads to success. So my tip will be just turn up at the meetings, volunteer for roles, even if it's a timekeeper role. I love the timekeeper role because it's an opportunity to put your own spin on something quite mundane and what seems like a quite easy, boring job, but you can make it really interesting, and you get so many opportunities during the meeting to get up on stage and speak. So it's a great way to learn. So it's turn up at meetings and pick a role. Whatever's there free, just take it, is my tip.
Oh, Errol, that's wonderful. You also love to turn old houses from, I love this, from a relic to an epic. What's the most dramatic transformation that you've enacted?
The most dramatic is the house I'm in now. I bought it for an investment and I did everything wrong. I chose a builder who used to live next door to me. Just because he lived next door to me, he turned out to be an alcoholic, spent more time drinking on the job than actually doing the job. I didn't do any budgeting, so I went completely over budget, and which is quite embarrassing because I'm an accountant. And I just I kept changing my design. So one minute I wanted blue walls, next minute I wanted wallpaper. And so I just constantly kept changing my mind and put them all together, created a dream home now after 8 years, but it was very stressful along the journey.
Errol, well, it sounds like you've made it and did so with flying colors. If only we had visuals next time.
Next time, for sure.
All right. Right now, I will ask our Zoom master and chief judge, do we have more time for interviews or should we move on?
As far as I'm aware, the chief judge and the ballot counters are still in the tally room tallying up. So I think you have a little bit more time.
Okay, great.
You have more time, Henry.
Well, we still have our contestants with us. Even better. Chief Priya, you love solo travel. Where would you like to travel alone?
I discovered my first solo travel experience that I loved it when I went to an island called Andaman and Nicobar. So the best part was that for 5 days, I had no network. And my parents were going crazy, but I, for those 5 days, connected very well with nature. And the better part was that I had every meal with different set of people. And then I realized when you travel with someone, you end up having the same communication in the same context, just with a different background. But when you travel alone, not just that you find yourself, find your true passions, maybe introspect better, but also you actually take that effort of meeting people from different cultures and actually learning more about the place itself. So that's when I started doing solo travel. And Paris was another place which I traveled solo. And trust me, it's a city of love, but it's also a city when you love yourself. So you would still enjoy the same.
Shivpriya, thank you. Matthew,
Thank you.
You're back with us.
Yep.
Your favorite quote is check yourself before you wreck yourself. When is the last time that you had to check yourself?
I like to do it a few times every year, just to see how I'm performing. But most commonly on my birthday, because that's, it's like a year where you've had time to evolve. So it's always good just to do like a review of the year.
Sounds very sensible, very moderate, very disciplined. No surprise. Thank you, Matthew. Our third contestant, Phil, back with us. Let's get to the elephant in the room. The question that you thought I was going to ask, but ultimately didn't. What do you drive?
What do I drive?
What do you drive?
I drive a Mazda MX-5 now. Now, the rationale behind that was my wife had a midlife crisis and decided she wanted to learn to drive a motorbike. So we got a motorbike. She liked it. She passed the test. I, having passed my test many, many years ago, thought that's a good idea. So we got two bikes. And over the years, so we were really fine weather bikers. Trouble was, if it was too cold, we couldn't be bothered to get out on the bike. If it was too hot, it's a real pain to get all the gear on. So we went, what should we do? Let's get a sports car. So got a sports car. It's really easy. You just get in. If the weather's nice, you leave the roof up. If the weather's hot, you put the roof down. Mazda MX-5.
I wish I could join you. That sounds amazing.
Come on over. If the weather's good.
I will. When school resumes, I will.
You're on.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Jacqui, back with us. Now, I mentioned elephant in the room about a minute and a half ago, but I think the real elephant in the room is, what is the origin story for your love of penguins?
I wish I knew. I think what happened was that I went to Tenerife many years ago, and they have, believe it or not, one of the best penguinariums in the world. It's all really cold. They've got the real cold weather penguins, because not all penguins are in the cold weather. And then I started painting them, and then I started going to zoos, and then suddenly I discovered that I actually knew that there were 18 different species, and I've been involved for the last 6 months or possibly even longer on trying to save endangered penguins. So I sponsor penguins, I paint penguins, I write about penguins, I speak about penguins. And I have models of penguins. That's my big, this is my big penguin. So it's a bit of an obsession. I don't know, it's been going on for 5 years. Shows no sign of abating yet.
Well, we look forward to seeing it and hearing about it in its next, no doubt, penguin-centric iteration. Thank you. Andrew, welcome back.
Hi, Emery. Yes.
I just have one question for you. How did you develop such good taste?
Such good taste? Do you mean in the clothes, or do you mean in the words, or in the wine?
All of it.
Or in the life? How does one develop good taste? The problem is, you see, what's good taste to one person is very, very bad taste to another. And I'm going to tell you a little story here. When I did the division contest, one of my division contests, I wore what I think is a really lovely mustard coloured waistcoat with a very nice tie. I had blue on underneath, but I had mustard, and I thought it really looked very nice. And somebody wrote in the chat that they couldn't stand it. Can you imagine? After contest. So it goes to show that what I like might not be what someone else likes. But hey, I'm for live and let live.
Andrew, a pleasure as always. Thank you. Mike, when we were getting things ready, we were backstage, you mentioned that you had worked a bit in setting up young Toastmasters clubs and in communities where there maybe weren't a lot of people. Do you have any tips on getting people who are neophytes to the organization, getting them interested?
It's the same sell, whatever the audience. I mean, everyone is to some degree frightened of something. Most people have some sort of concerns towards public speaking. And public speaking also offers the ability to open doors that would normally be shut for a lot of people, you know, from coming from different backgrounds. So it sells itself in a lot of ways as long as you can get that message out there. And that's sometimes the hardest thing is getting the communication to work. You know, you might have a solid argument, but it's getting it into the right people at the right time where they can pick up on it and want to do something about it. And I think that what I learned through that process was really just, you know, you've got to spend the time doing it. You've got to commit to getting the communication out there, following up on the communication, you know, trying different channels and just making sure, you know, the message is getting out there and people can then respond to that message. And then I think Toastmasters does a very good job of selling itself in the right circumstances.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mike. Thank you again. Roz.
Hello.
Welcome back. It's been too long already. So you didn't even tell us. Have you given the keynote?
Yes, I have. I have given the keynote around the world, various states in America, in the Caribbean, around the UK, any Toastmasters club I can get my hands on. So I have given the keynote and it's always well received.
Wonderful. So glad and totally unsurprised to hear that. I would also ask, given that you are the kind of Jedi of pathways, just from your personal experience, which path has been the most fun?
Motivational strategies. Yeah. And that's because it's not about a business or doing a business. For me, if it was about the business, it would be innovative planning. But in terms of personal development, motivational strategies, it has you actually focused on yourself, even has you keeping a diary. I'm not sharing the diary secrets with you, but it has you keeping a diary as well. And as a result of that, I think you come out a better person. So motivational strategies. I'm doing it again. I've just finished it and I'm going to do it a third time.
Forget moderation, right?
Never moderation. Never that.
Take away. Roz, thank you.
Thank you.
Errol.
Hi there.
Welcome back. So you are the master of reinvention and transformation in houses. But I have a sense, you know, these kinds of interests are usually kind of metaphors for things that are also going on that are invisible a little bit more on the psychological level. So what transformations in your own life have you enacted?
Very good one. Very good question. Well, transformation that I have done over the lockdown is taken my fitness far more seriously. I've always worked out and gone to the gym, but even more so as I get older, I think my wealth is in my health. So lockdown, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm up, stable at the same times I was getting up when I was going in to the office in London Bridge. And I get up at 5, by 5:30, I do an hour's walk and a very fast walk, even time myself and try and shave off a few seconds each morning. And then I'll start the day with work and business, what have you. And then in the evening time, while the gyms were not open, I had some weights and I turned my shed into a gym and did an hour in the evening. And that has transformed my physique from where it was, but also my mindset and my commitment to certain things. So it's been really good transformational experience, I'd say.
Errol, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now thank you. We've heard from all of our contestants. We've heard a lot of different things, different answers to our question, different answers to my various questions. I think we can agree on one thing. They're more lovable than ever. Let's give them one more round of applause. Remember, I can see you, so just honor them in some way. Wave your hands, do the Zoom thing, applaud them out loud, jump up and down, whatever. Awesome, awesome job to all of our 8 contestants. Thank you. That is all from me for now. And I'm delighted to hand you over to our MC extraordinaire, Lynn Cantor. Lynn, over to you.
Thank you, Henry. Thanks very much. Thank you. Lovely, fantastic. I'm just going to change my screen slightly here so I can see everybody. Fantastic. Hi. Wow, wow. Didn't the contestants interview so calmly? Whereas at the moment, the tension must be unfathomable. You know, you can always feel it in your own room, the tension building up. And what a contest. So anyway, we have about 1 minute, 7 minutes, 15 minutes to fill. Not quite sure yet. It depends how long the judges take with their deliberations. So I'm going to ask if Jill can join me back on stage, and hopefully she can. I know she's jumping between rooms in the background. So hopefully she can join us on stage in a minute. If not, we'll go to the audience and we'll ask the audience some questions and see what their stories are about contests and their experiences and the fun that they've had and things like that. But one thing I do know, would you like to be a judge in that contest? I'm not sure I would be. Wow, that was quite tight, I think, quite tight. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So Jill's not appearing just yet. So maybe Sarah can highlight, is Dick, oh, Jill is there. Hello, Jill.
Hi, I thought I would be muted out, but here I am joining you now.
So Jill, just before the contest started, I told my story of my contest nightmare. I ended up with a wet seat and having to dry myself under the ladies' dryer. Have you got a contest story to tell?
I do. I'm not into learning my speeches. It's a big challenge. I like bullet points and I like to ad lib. But I thought I would challenge myself, and other people could do it, and I thought I could do. So I decided that I was going to Athens on business a few days before the contest, and I do a night job. I work in the arts. I was only really going out every night, but during the day I decided not to go to all the wonderful museums in Athens and to learn my speech by heart. What happened? I stood up at the club contest, and after 2 sentences completely dried. And it wasn't just that I could pause for a few minutes, and I'd forgotten that I once went, oh my God, I need a charisma transplant. It was like looking at a solid black wall with no way of looking over it or around the sides. And I completely stopped and I said, I'm sitting down. But the interesting thing was, when we were interviewed at the end, I could remember my speech and I gave a little bit of it. And people came up to me and thanked me for what had happened and how useful it was, because as a very experienced speaker, they understood it can happen to anyone. And that was valuable, that you take a little bit of the pressure off yourself if you know it can happen to anybody, and then it probably doesn't happen to you.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Jill. And actually that refers back to what Mark was saying, when someone literally bombed in one of the international contests, and everyone comes around with support, because everyone learns something when that happens, that you don't have to be perfect. And Toastmasters is a learning environment. Let's see now if we can go to someone in the audience. Now, I wonder if Dick Dixon is about, because I know Dick Dixon was in a lot of the soirees during the week. So I said I would actually call on him and see if he can give us his view on today. Let's just see if he's about, see if we can find Dick Dixon. Is he about? I know Sarah is looking for him. So, oh, there he is. There's Dick Dixon. Hello, Dick.
I'm here somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah, well, and I certainly saw you at the soirees, Dick. So I have to say, I didn't see you at Zumba.
He wasn't there.
You didn't see me in Cuba?
No, not in the Zumba session that was run by Jill. I didn't see you doing the old Zumba.
Too energetic for me.
Oh, was it? Okay. So Derek, Derek, Dick, in all your experiences, and you've had a lot in Toastmasters, you've been presidents and area directors. Were you ever division director?
Division director? No, I had actually had a big fight in a contest for it. Fantastic fight with Freddie Daniels for it. So.
So you were area director. So you would have been quite close to running some contests then. So have you got any stories of the contest that you happened in when you were area director?
I have, but they've all been successful in terms of planning, and because I'm a bit of a planner, so in terms of planning and making sure the plans come together, something similar to this. I mean, I have been involved with a contest myself, in a contest, and as you know, I play a trumpet, and I've played a trumpet for 50 years or so. I play it really, really badly, hence for 50 years. And I was a contestant, and I got up to do my speech, and I was using the trumpet as a prop. My intention was, at the end of the contest, was to play just a quick note, but at the end of the speech, everyone was laughing. I was laughing, and that's one thing you can't do, is to play a trumpet and laugh or smile at that time. So lesson learned, you know, if you're going to use the prop as a whatever, make sure it is work and it is doable. So that was my lesson learned in terms of using props. So I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, it absolutely does. The next time, Dick, we'll get you playing your trumpet, that's for sure. We'll get everyone's nodding. We want to hear you play the trumpet. However badly you say you might have played it for 50 years, I'm sure you can come up with a tune. So Jill, do you want to ask something?
Yes, is Anne Bingham. I was hoping to find Anne Bingham because I'd love to ask her quite an interesting question. Is Anne Bingham around?
Yes, she is.
Lovely. Anne, where are you?
I'm up here.
Hi. Hi. Anne, what was the most challenging table topic you've ever been given?
Oh, Anne, you're on mute. Anne, you're on mute. Can we unmute? Can we unmute? There we are.
Yes, I am. Yes, I didn't touch it. My computer has a life of its own. All morning I'm typing in the right numbers, and they're saying they don't want me to enter. Anyway, something happens to me when I'm asked a question on a topic. I can think about it a quarter of an hour later, have wonderful answers. I can criticize other people, but when it comes to me, my mind goes complete blank. It's because I have done it so rarely lately that I get a shock, an electric shock happens, and I just feel that I have no remembrance of what the question was sometimes, which I find very irritating. But the most difficult question, well, this afternoon's one was quite difficult, trying to think of something that in moderation. I was thinking about food, drink, exercise, but exercise, listening to Errol's exercise regime, this walking, hearing about it made me exhausted. Anybody's exercise exhausts me, and his discipline of life is terrific. I really admire people who have got a strong sense of discipline. I wish I had. I'd like to listen to other people and they tell me what they do in the way of getting up early, working all day and doing another job at night and preparing speeches, whereas I have a very laid-back way of enjoying my life. I just love listening to other people and partaking in the good life. And this is my main thing, really, enjoying the few years I've got ahead of me. I'm now preparing for getting old, which I'm not at all happy about. So I'm really forcing myself now to make the odd speech occasionally. Which was quite a terrifying experience. But the thing is, I don't do it often enough. If I did it more than twice a year, it might be quite good. But as I do it, sometimes once every 3 years.
Thank you, Anne. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. It's lovely having a laid-back life. Okay, I'm actually going to move to Simon Cooper. So let's see if Simon Cooper, he's a member of a couple of clubs. Let's see if Simon Cooper is about, because I know Simon. Oh, there's Simon. I can see him. We just need to unmute him. If we can unmute him, there you go. So Simon, you've entered in quite a few contests in your time, and you've gone up the rankings, so to speak. So have you had any contest nightmares?
Oh, several contest nightmares. Several. My memory is a speech I did shortly after I separated from my wife in the humorous contest, and I played on the fact of my separation speech. It flopped at the club level, completely flopped. But for some reason, the top 3 couldn't go through. So I was nominated to appear at the area contest. I decided to change the speech completely. I ditched the speech, and I actually did another old speech I'd given, and I rejigged it and so on. It was a speech about whether you're a glass half full or a glass half empty person. Some of you might remember it. And I actually won at the area and then came 3rd at the division. So it's the only time I've ever got to division, in fact. It was about 2014 or 15, around that time. And you know what? My recommendation is, if you have a speech, even if you get, say, 3rd place and you're lucky enough to get through to the next level for some reason, if you're not happy with the speech, ditch it, go to another one. That's my advice.
Thank you, Simon. And it's interesting you say that you got through because of someone else. I mean, Mark was talking earlier in his speech, the reason he entered the contest was someone said, will you enter? And so he did, so you never know where it might lead. So well done, Simon, well done. I think we've probably got time for 1 or 2 more questions.
Yes, when we're getting such interesting nuggets from people, I would like to ask Julie Parker a question. Are we able to spotlight Julie? Lovely. Oh, it's a Julie Curtis. We're looking for Julie Parker. And the question I've got won't work for an established member who we know so well, Julie. We know you very well. It's Julie Parker that I'm looking for because it's a very specific question.
Just so on our list, we've only got a Julie Chapman or Julie and City Limits.
City Limits.
City Limits,
please.
okay.
Yeah. Hi, Julie. You are a comparatively new member. You joined during the pandemic. You're not even in the same town as the club. How has that felt? And what are your feelings about it in the future? I mean, how's it made you feel just knowing us remotely?
Okay, well, it's been amazing. And for me, this has been really good to be able to do Toastmasters through Zoom, because I did try and join a Toastmasters once, but my own inhibitions, being in a room of people who are what I felt were experts in speaking, I felt really a bit nervous. So being on the other side of a computer screen and seeing you all in your little boxes there has been really good for me. I trained as a classical singer and I'm a choral conductor. So as part of that package, I have to talk to the audience. And that's been okay. But, people see what goes on the outside and they don't see what goes in on the inside. And I have to say that, I'm kind of kicking my feet to stay above water inside while hoping it's coming across okay outside. So learning a little bit more about technique and being able to do that on Zoom has been really good. And I just find the people, normally if I speak to an audience, they're not an audience full of people who are used to speaking in public, so that's okay. But at Toastmasters, everybody is kind of expert in their field, I felt. But it's been really good to get to know people. I felt encouraged, I felt appreciated, and I felt really guided, and I've really appreciated everybody's expertise and the things that they have brought from their journey in public speaking have been really helpful. So I look forward to meeting you all outside of your boxes one day.
Thank you so much, Julie. And apologies to Julie Curtis, who we all know and love, but we wanted to talk to a new member, a fully pandemic member. And I'm going to hand back to Lynn now.
Yeah, and we've still got time for probably one or two more questions. So let's see if David West is in the room. David West, because he belongs to quite a few clubs down on the south. Oh, there's David. Hello, David. So David, somebody else who's been in quite a few contests. So have you had any contest nightmares where you wish you were somewhere else, or they've all gone spiffingly?
Well, it's actually the opposite. Simon reminded me there were two occasions. One, when I got through to an area contest, which I don't do very often, but I couldn't go because I had to go to a business meeting in Dusseldorf with all our team and the whole European team. And even worse, I got through to a division contest with a humorous speech, and I couldn't go because I had a really, really bad knee and I couldn't even walk to the front door, let alone to the station to come up to London. And of course now that would be great because I could do it on Zoom. Before I go, I just have a quote I thought that might be apropos. In fact, I've got two. One is from William Blake, which is "The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom." I'm not sure what that means, but I know what this one means. It's from Scott Fitzgerald. "Too much of anything is bad, but too much champagne is just right." So I think we can all agree with that.
Certainly can, and we may be talking about champagne a little bit later. All right, so I think, I think we're still waiting at the moment. So Jill, I'm going to hand back to you for one more question, I think. Oh, I think Jill might have had to drop off. So, oh no, it looks like we are ready. Looks like the results are back in. Oh, right. So I will not delay anymore. I'm going to hand over to the Chief Judge, Neil Coleman, to announce the results of the table topic. So thank you, audience. Over to you, Neil.
Very much, Lynn, and good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. What a little showdown we had there. A great show of mental gymnastics, and indeed I'm sure it will have given our judges, to whom we're very, very grateful, quite the workout. Now, as Lynn has said, we have got some results. Now, I'd like to tell you the results. He'd like me to tell you the results. Are you ready to have some results?
Yes.
I'm going to take that as very much a yes. Excellent, excellent. So first thing is first. There were no disqualifications on time.
Good.
Wonderful stuff. Is there a finer sentence in the English language at this time of year? I think not. And then to the results themselves. So in third place, your District 91, third place goes to Mike Weston. Congratulations, Mike. Good work, sir. Second place. Second place goes to Roz Etwaria. Well done, Roz. Great work. Wonderful topic. But there is only one first place. Your District 91 champion for 2021, it goes to Andrew Bennett. Well done, Andrew. Great stuff. Superb. And for a final question with your contest chair, I'm going to hand you back on over to Henry. Henry, over to you.
Thank you so much, Neil. Andrew, congratulations. Huge. Now, I just have one question for you.
Yeah.
Now that you are the District 91 Table Topics champion, you're going to have a bit of swagger. What's the first thing you're going to do with that extra dose of swagger?
The extra dose of swagger. Goodness me, how will I swagger? I hope that soon we'll all be able to go and meet in person a little bit sometimes, and then we can all swagger together around the district, because I like to share my win with everybody, every Toastmaster here. You know, we're all part of each other's progress. This contest win here started at Experience French, which is our French language Toastmasters club in London. So I'm waving at all the guys and girls of Experience French today, and we did it. and everybody in the area and Division L. But I want to go and swagger with everybody. That's what I want to do, Henry. I want to go and swagger with everybody.
Andrew, I think I speak on behalf of all of us. We can't wait. And hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
With that, thank you, everyone. Congrats to Andrew. Congrats to all of our contestants. And back over to our MC extraordinaire, Lynn Cantor. Lynn, over to you.